Phyllis, we would have roll call vote. Roll call, please. Not vote, just roll call.
Jim Collier.
Here.
Roll call. Kurt Fox.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. You were emailed a copy of the minutes from our November 1st meeting. Have you had a chance to review those?
Yes. I'll make a motion to accept them as email.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. And the first thing on our agenda is that we need to make the legal notice that was advertised for the grass truck a matter of record. It was advertised.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second to make this a matter of record. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, the same. Do you have another one?
One bid.
And
that was just what I cut out.
this then is for the grass truck bid. Unless, she says, we just have one. How many were you expecting?
Possibly three, but
You can't wear that hat up here.
Sure you can.
I like that.
the one from that built the tanker, I don't think he got around. There's been some restructuring with that company since the tanker was built, so.
The larger the trucks you get, the more bids you're going to get.
Yeah. Kind of looked for possibly one out candidate, but the normal vendors that would bid on a large fire truck, they just jump to grass trucks.
So how did you put this out to people? I mean, how did they know about this? Is there some fire web?
We looked at different trucks, and when we did, we found a vendor that was down here so real close to the Decatur, which is Waterloo. And we worked with them to present a spec so everybody else could bid off of that spec.
Okay.
I took our vendor list, like Hoosier Fire and Donnelly, that would
Build this.
That would build, you know, and here's the spec, do you want a copy of it? Email it, and most of them that's just not something we build.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Tim?
But there were some emails sent to the effect that, hey, we're putting a grass truck out, if you want a copy of the specs, we'll send it to you. And then there's they were advertised also.
There's another pretty big manufacturer down in Texas that could have been on it, like you said, the one in Canada. But we were real happy with it. They looked at the truck and the design of the truck and what the water was.
Okay, the only bid submitted that will be open is from First Attack Engineering, Inc., and out of Waterloo, Indiana. It's for a brush fire truck conversion. The bid is for a flatbed unit conversion, $68,160, performance bond $1,739, the 2017 F450 extended cab gas engine $36,245 for a total of $106,144. Yeah, now.
106,144.
What's that? Yeah.
Kind of like that?
There's no... Was it required to be on bid form 96? It was?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't submit it in the proper form.
So we got to put it back out for bid again? This is only one?
That's an improper bid if it was required to be put on Form 96.
So we need to rebid it.
Yeah? Yeah, they have a bid bond in here.
was the form?
96.
What's the legal ad? Do you have that, Phyllis?
Yeah.
Says all bids should be filed with the clerk treasurer of the city of Decatur attached to bid form 96, revised in 2013, prescribed by the Indiana State Board of Accounts, with a non-collusion affidavit executed. And it even gives where the bid forms can be printed off at a state website. In addition, each bid should be accompanied by a bid security in the amount of 10% of the actual bid price.
Just within the last 2 weeks.
Bid security can be either a certified check or a bid bond.
They did that part.
They did that part, but they didn't do the Form 96 or the non-collusion affidavit.
That is out of our lowest for this year, we would have enough time to get it rebid and get it out of the railroad that we do.
Well, we put it back out for bid again. We're looking at, what, a month from now before we can...
Probably.
So that's mid-December,
Yeah, 'cause
just to have the bid open.
Yeah, and,
they'll have to advertise it twice, and 2 weeks
So
apart.
can we advertise it
10
right
days prior
away
to the meeting.
to get it out again? Or if I'm
I have
able
to
to
read
do
it.
it at this point?
Well, you have to have whatever the statute requires for taking bids on a purchase. So you follow the same procedure.
So Jim's question is,
yeah,
we have the low money set aside for this year.
well, it'll have,
Well, if-
it'll have to be encumbered.
Yeah, be encumbered over if you...
You know, or
At least you know the price.
well, we'll have to have some form of invoicing to encumber that. So, because we can't do it off an estimated price. Correct?
If you've got if you open bids and you've got a bid that you've accepted, you can base it off of
Yeah,
that.
but we're not gonna have we're not gonna have a timeline because
Where we close.
we would have to,
Redo the ad.
We have
See
5
how
weeks
many days
before
they
our,
can get it
before our last council meeting of the year.
The first council meeting is the 6th, second one's the 20th. So,
Yeah, we can do it on the 20th.
You can do it on the 20th.
and the
I think.
6th doesn't give you enough time, right? It's 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, but do you have time to encumber, but did you have to do it by resolution?
we'd actually have to, you'll do the encumbrances
We did the last meeting.
on the 20th.
Which is the meeting that opened the bids.
That's what I'm saying would be kind of impossible, right?
Unless you
Have the resolution, and then you fill
just
in the
fill in the
blanks.
blank and then adopt the resolution, there's a possibility you could do something like that.
Bring a typewriter in here for you?
I'm pinning it in.
I mean, that's what I was going to suggest, is that we could do a special meeting if we need to be, but if we have to have 5 weeks, I mean,
What's the timeline, Phyllis, on?
You just have to advertise it a week apart, 10 days prior to opening the bid. And the
week?
Democrat can do it, I can send it to the Democrat within 2 days, they can have it in the paper.
so in theory, we could,
You could have a special meeting in between if you wanted to.
but
If need be.
don't we have 10 days before our next meeting now?
Yeah, but you gotta advertise it, how was it?
A week apart.
A week apart.
2 times a week apart.
So she gets it in, let's say, Monday is the 19th, and again the 26th. So then there's one... That doesn't catch us by our first meeting.
How does it not?
How does it not? It was 12th, the 19th, so
So
it's
it
1,
would
2,
be advertised on
only 15 days.
Brian,
And we only need 10?
We got 3 weeks right now for our next meeting.
We could do it on the 3rd, couldn't we? If you got it in the,
Yeah, if you could, I mean, if I
if you get it
If I could
advertised.
get it to the Democrat tomorrow, or if you want to do it then.
Well, even if you got it to them so that they ran it Monday, then let me back here, if they ran it the 21st, and again on the 28th,
And then we would look
and then
at
after that second advertisement, you'd have 29th, 30, 1, 2, 3, that's 5 days, and 7 the next week is 12 days.
No, because our meeting's on
It's
the
not the
6th.
7th, it's the 6th.
Ooh,
How many days do you have to have between?
10 days,
I
right?
think it's 10 days prior to the meeting.
And that wouldn't give us...
Which would be the 26th, if I could advertise it on the 26th and the 19th, and get it to them on tomorrow. We could try that.
Saturday the 19th, 26th.
26th.
Is that working days?
How you doing? Have a seat.
Calendar.
And that makes the 6th exactly 10 days, if it was the 19th and 26th. I guess all we can do is we can shoot for it. If Phyllis can get it in,
And if nothing else, we would have to do it the 20th. Will that make our incoming?
well, like Tim said, we just have to have a resolution with blanks in it, open the bids, and then do the
If you accept the bid,
resolution.
then we would plug in what you're going to encumber over to cover whatever that bid amount was.
So yeah, we
that
could
was
do it all the
accepted.
same night.
Okay.
So if we get ready in time, we'll get there.
Because I'll get with Phyllis, because there were a couple additional things that we could do locally, rather than have any vendor do it, which would be like a backup camera. There's a company called Brigade Electronics in Portland that does those, and they would do that for less than what a vendor would do it. Then there'll be some radio installation and programming. That would be, so I'll need to get invoicing on that so that we can encumber the whole amount. It wouldn't be just the amount of the truck, it would be a couple additional things, so. We'll have some time. So if we advertise on the 19th and the 26th, we could make the 6th.
The 6th would be exactly 10 days, right, Phyllis? Yes.
Yeah. Do you think you can get a hold of that first attack and tell them what
Yeah.
the requirements are?
Actually, you need to make a motion to reject the bid on the basis that it was not responsive to the bid specifications.
I'll make a motion to reject the bid on the basis that it was not responsive to the bid specification.
Ooh, imagine that, Bill.
That's good, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. Motion carried. Well, let's try it again, guys.
And make sure they pay attention, because the non-collusion affidavit, the signatures have to be notarized, so tell them, double-check what they're signing,
Triple-check.
and make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Seems like we ran into this all
And
day.
there could possibly be a...
That's what they do. All right, Phyllis, how about Plumbing Excavating's pay application number 5? Weren't you right when you worked? Weren't you right, bid? That's what you do all the time.
For the Interceptor project, Fleming's is on pay app number 5, and it's for $558,890.69. And Bill Fleck has reviewed this, and he gave it okay on where they are.
And asked for this, including this, puts Fleming at what percentage of his, 68, was it?
Yeah, 68%
68%
complete.
of his completion.
Need a motion
Need
for
a
that?
motion for-
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to pay Fleming Excavating $558,890 and 69 cents for their pay app number 5. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Tim, let's talk real quickly about the Bungie Bridge.
Okay?
I emailed, okay,
Yeah.
out of the blue, I had no idea that the city of Decatur still owned, or ever really, owned the bridge. But when Bungie replaced the bridge, it was something that John and Larry Macklin had worked out. And that old bridge, you know, as we all know, is going to go down to the South Adams Trails. And it was moved down there in pieces. But we are the owners of that bridge, as at least for now. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Toby Steffen from Butler Fairman Seifert wanted to have a meeting with us because there's a memorandum of understanding of various things we were supposed to do, advertising and whatever that we need to do as long as we're the owners of this bridge.
If it's not actually installed within a certain period of time, and that got delayed because of the changes in the trail and trying to get permits to go over the Wabash River. So what happens is, under the memorandum of agreement, you then have to notify surrounding property or surrounding cities and put it on a state website that this bridge is available if some other municipality would be interested. And if somebody says, hey, we'd like that bridge, then we have to go back to the party that was working with us for the trail to say, do you want the bridge or not? And if they say, yeah, we still want it, then we go back to the community and say, sorry, they're going to still use it. Seems like a lot of hoops to jump through, but that's the process that the federal and state government required in this project. So that hasn't been done, so we need to do that. And then the other thing was they are seeking funding, if you saw in the paper, through the Regional Development Authority for funds that would allow them to actually span the river with this bridge. So originally, back when this was all done in 2009, the town of Geneva was going to be the party that was the lead local agency. Well, that's now changed to the county. So basically, what we signed a letter just saying, look, you know, we're willing to donate the bridge to whichever entity it is. We have no use for it. We don't intend to keep it. So you can have it. And but this notification is something that still needs to be done, and they have to do some kind of verification, because all of this stems from the fact that the bridge was a historical bridge. Okay, so you can't just do away with it. So it has to be salvaged for historical purposes, and that's how it ended up as part of the trail.
So in our meeting, Toby Steffen said, hey, now Butler Fairman Seifert would be glad to write up some documents that you need. We'll be glad to write up the advertisement that you're going to need to advertise in the Decatur Daily Democrat and the Indianapolis Star. Here's what he said they would do. He goes, this is what BF&S will do for the city of Decatur to keep current on the Memorandum of Understanding between the Federal Highway and the State Historical Preservation Authority, or whatever it's called, SHPO. 1, read through the Memorandum of Understanding to make sure every and all stipulations are being met. 2, write a letter to the surrounding counties regarding the bridge availability. That doesn't sound too hard, does it? 3, write the advertisement information that will be ran in the Decatur Daily Democrat and the Indianapolis Star. Doesn't seem too complicated. 4, make sure the bridge is properly mentioned and noted on Indiana Department of Transportation website. That's what they will do. What the city needs to do then is to take the letter that they craft, put it on our own letterhead, we can do that, and then place the advertisement in the 2 newspapers mentioned. For them to do those 4 things, they want $1,000. I showed it to Tim. I said, I think this is ridiculous. I mean, this is a bridge that we don't even want. You know, but it's unfortunately still in our name, and to get it out of our name, we got to pay $1,000. So I replied back to him. I said, oh, Mr. Steffen, thanks for the information on what BF&S would charge for the services. I believe the charges for the services is a bit excessive and far more than what I'd want to pay. I'd be willing to pay around half that price, but can't warrant paying much more than that. Is this something that South Adams Trail should pay? It's going to be theirs. I have to say I was not expecting to pay anywhere close to this amount, so if you'd reconsider and let me know, I'd appreciate it. He called me yesterday, left a message. I called him back today. They will do it for $500. So,
If I do it, you're gonna spend that much, so it's as broad as it is long. It's up to you guys.
you don't have a vote. Board works there. But you can comment.
You're expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we know Tim's expensive, yeah.
I mean, the stuff that needs to be done, I can do. It's just that you're gonna get charged one way or the other, so.
So
It's up to you guys.
So we need a motion for the mayor that had the opportunity, or the permission to go ahead and
Have
enter
Butler,
into an agreement.
BF&S, do everything we need to do to be current on all of this.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay. Thank you. I'll give him a call and
Just ask him. It was pretty good negotiating there.
well, what he told me is that he goes, we will, instead of having our best people on our staff do this for you, we'll have to have someone with a little less experience do it for you. I said, I don't care who does it, and I don't want to pay that much for it. So, yeah, I'll get you a copy.
Tim's got a new colleague down there. The Ainsworth kid. Get his feet wet.
Okay, so that takes care of that.
You guys can approve it, but it's still gonna be.
Greg, you want to come up?
Just spend twice as much just figuring out what the...
I don't know if that mic, did you guys turn that mic on? Les, turn the mic on. You just push and hold that button in, if the batteries are any good. Okay, so when we last met, I think we discussed the hiring of an officer.
Yes.
Did we use his name? We did, didn't we, 2 weeks ago?
No, I think we did the last time.
We did? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Austin Gross, yes, who is works for the Sheriff's Department. And,
He wishes to come to the city
yeah,
and be a member of our department, and we took him down last Monday, a week ago Monday, yesterday, to public safety for his physical and psychological testing, and everything so far looks good, but we have not got the results back yet. We expect that at any moment or any time, week to 10 days. Once that happens, they'll be sending a packet from PERF that you'll have to sign and sign off on him, and then Phyllis will have to give them a higher date, or we can decide on a higher date.
That's the after that date where they're in that letter,
Yeah.
whatever they say was approved.
Yeah.
won't they?
Yeah. And so that's where we're at. We're waiting for that to come back right now.
and with the hiring of Austin Gross, that would replace
Julie.
Julie McConnell.
Now, we have another, which is Chris
Affolter.
Chris Affolter, who is our SRO out at the school, and he has applied for disability. His back is so bad now that he can't continue the work that we do. We don't have any light work that he can do.
Can't wear a gun belt, can't take the weight of it.
It's all nerves and vertebrae problems.
So we already had a meeting with the pension board.
With the pension board, and they approved his disability. Now it's up to PERF to figure out whether they're going to add any to it or not. I think they can get up to a maximum of 45%, I believe is what it is, if it goes that way. So with that happening, I bring it to you to wonder whether we should try another lateral type of hiring.
Hired. There's one out there.
There is one out there. I have not talked
He
to
was,
him.
yeah, without mentioning names, he was, I think, he was a finalist the last go around. Bill, you know who it is.
Yes.
And he was a good interview the last time. And he was, like I said, one of our 5 finalists last time around. been to the academy.
has already been through everything, has been through public safety. All that it would take would be a letter from me stating that we would hire him for PERF, and PERF could transfer him over because he's already a member of PERF. But again, it's how soon you want to do that, if you want to do it. The 16th of December will be Chris's last day if everything goes according to plan.
Have you interviewed this person yet?
No. I've been
Okay,
waiting
so what
until
what you would like to do is you would like to interview him?
Correct?
I'd like to interview him,
Okay.
and pending those interviews, you would like to, if he's suitable, conditionally make him the offer to replace Chris whenever that date is that Chris goes off the payroll.
Correct. And that would probably coincide with whatever notice he wants to give to his employer.
Right.
I mean, I think that's only fair. But anywhere as close to that as we can get, I mean, I'll just get him on board that much faster.
And that would replace Chris, if you guys approve this. And then lastly, we still have an officer to hire for effective January 1.
Correct, and we still have those applications. We've weeded them down. We've done the background checks. I think we're down to about 15. Once we kind of get through this stuff, we will put out, we'll do the testing for that. We're hopefully sometime in December. I think the 10th of December, we're going to shoot for doing the testing. And that way we can get that out of the way for hiring after the first of the year if possible. So right now, I guess, my question is would you allow us, even yourselves too, if you want? I mean, that's fine with me too. If you all want to interview the man and see what you want to do, I'm just bringing up the fact that he's another lateral.
Saves us a lot of money.
Saves us a lot of time and money.
And ultimately, though, it would be pending him going through a couple of interviews.
Correct.
And personally, myself, having him been a finalist last time, I feel good with him myself, and I support Greg in this if you guys do. So, but
I think it's the way this needs to work. So you've done the interviewing, you've done the process. So if that's your recommendation, then I'll go with that, and I would make a motion to approve the hiring of
this person.
Pending final interviews.
I'll second that, that's fine.
Okay, so that's two. Now, what I urge you to do now at this point is to get busy with the rest of these guys, because,
Yes.
I mean, this is the middle of November, and do the testing and do the physical agility stuff, and let's get that out of the way and work on our next one.
Okay, will do. Do we want to set something up for the interviews then, or
Do you know when you'll be ready to do that? I mean, when you'll get it down to 5? You got to get
No,
it down.
I'm talking about the number 2 guy.
Oh, this number 2 guy? Oh, you just let me know. I'll
Okay.
make time.
Okay. Does anybody else
I'm fine.
would like to be in on it?
If either of you would like to
talked
sit
to
on.
him,
Okay.
and I know who you're talking about, so.
Yeah.
Well, just another date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I can do that. Be glad to.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Did you have anything else?
No, that was it for me.
Yep, that's all I got on there for you. The depot. We've discussed the depot every meeting now for about 3 or 4 meetings in a row, and I hope this will be the last and final little tweak that we have to make. Melissa, will you help me out here? Phyllis has ordered a calendar. It's a book for booking the depot, and that calendar is now located right out here where the 2 clerks work. So anyone who calls City Hall or anyone who comes in who wants to rent the depot, those 2 girls, and or if they're busy, Melissa, those 3 people can handle the booking of the depot. They would take deposits, and when then would you get the final pay? When they pick up the key, or do they do that when they book it?
It depends on when their event is.
Okay.
We've had a couple calls from people who are having an event in January. That's a long time to hold 2 checks. a payment check and a deposit check. So right now we're thinking 30-ish days
Okay.
that we'll take their payment, not any sooner. But we still put them on the book.
But we're having them write 2 checks, one for a deposit,
One for
which
payment
we
and
hold,
deposit.
and they get that check back after it's been examined. Okay, so then the depot gets used. You're communicating then with Susie Filling.
We're going to check in with Susie Filling once a week to let her know what the schedule is for the week so she can plan appropriately for the cleaning of the depot and checking
Things off.
afterwards.
And then Susie calls back to City Hall, says, hey, this looks good, give them back their deposit. People come in, they get their deposit back. And
I think we've been mailing it back, or it just depends, I guess, where they live.
Phyllis, have you been holding the money, or have the girls been holding the money, or how's that been?
No, actually, it's the girls are, the utility girls are getting it, and then they bring it back to us, or Melissa does, with the checks and the rental agreement. And then we hold them, and then when they say, like Melissa came in today, okay, it was rented this weekend, you're okay to return the deposit back to them.
Okay, so they didn't come in, you just mail it to you, or what?
No, they bring it in when they rent the building.
No, I mean, when you return it, are you mailing it back to the people, or do they come in and get it? The deposit?
I think it's doing both ways.
Okay.
Because now, like this last rental, they have, their rent was only $50, but the deposit's $100, so now we're going to have to deposit that check and then write them another check to give them back the $50 out of their $100, so...
Because they only wrote 1 check, you're saying?
No, well, right?
They wrote 1 check.
They wrote, yeah. So, I mean, it might be a little extra work on doing that, because the rent's cheaper than the deposit if they only rent it for like 2 hours.
Would it be, okay, does the money need to come back to you, or can the girls just deposit it in their vault every night where they put stuff, or? I'm just trying to cut down on how many people are actually handling everything. Right now, can those 3 just handle everything, or do we need to bring it back?
Well, don't you want it in the depot fund? I mean, that's why we're involved. It's convenient.
The rental, I'm talking about the deposit, I guess. Do we need to bring it all back to you? We can, just now it involves 5 people.
Well, what we were doing is trying to keep Melissa out of it so she didn't have to mess with it, because she said she wasn't here every day, so we just had
The 2
if
girls.
the 2 girls do it, and the majority of it, if they're gone, then we can take care of it.
Okay.
It
I'm good
doesn't
with it.
matter
You good with
either
it?
way. I mean, however you want to
Your
do it.
thoughts?
One of the challenges, since the contracts aren't with the schedule, if people come in and need the key or have a question, there's a disconnect of...
Yeah, but can't they just call? I mean, wouldn't the contract stay with those girls if they're coming into the front?
Yeah,
Oh,
could
okay.
it all... Because if somebody calls and there's a question about when's my rental, or have I paid a deposit, or... and I took it and I'm not here and one of them needs to answer a question, the contract's not with the book.
So they need to
I
transfer.
don't know if that's going to be an issue or not.
Be a matter of them transferring the call to you, I guess, if they have a question, or, but they'll have the contract, but she's going to have the check. Is that what we're saying?
We're just depositing it, so whatever.
Right now, Phyllis and Wendy have all the signed contracts and deposits and checks.
Contracts and checks.
You have everything that's been completed.
Right.
You're saying that contract should stay up here so they can answer the calls and know what it's owed?
I'm wondering, maybe. I don't know. Just I don't know if less people handling it is going to be better.
Seems to me that if they can handle it up here, the scheduling piece of it, that's what they should do, and they bring all the money back to you.
Right.
Can they just make a photocopy of the contract, give you the original, and if a question comes in, they can answer it off
Not a
the
bad idea.
photocopy?
Just have them make a copy for them, and one go back to Phyllis with the checks. Easy solution. There you go. Okay.
Killing trees.
So, are we all good to go now on the depot?
The only thing
Some
that was
dangerous
brought up
relax.
is if an event is canceled,
Not towards a tree.
it's not in the contract, they get
Yeah.
the refund or the security deposit back. Does that need to be in a contract, Tim?
What's that? I'm sorry.
If somebody cancels the event?
They give you a deposit and then
Do
they
we get
cancel it.
that
Yeah,
deposit
that's a
back?
question that came up after the fact, so I don't know how you want to address that, because I don't think it was
I think there
addressed.
needs to be a penalty for if you cancel within
Usually
7
if-
days of your event,
Yeah, if
you
you
get
book
a
a place, you
portion.
can cancel it within a certain time and get a full refund. Otherwise, if it's after that, then you lose part of the deposit or
Yeah.
you lose it all.
Well, I would say since our minimum rent is $50 or 2 hours, then the deposit's $100, so they get
Half back.
half back.
I'm going to add that to the wording. Or I can, I
It's
guess.
probably part of the rules, so, yeah.
Can we
Oh,
just,
is it in the rules?
I think that's where the rental is, so.
Oh.
can we
Yeah,
just add it
references.
to the rules?
Yes.
Yeah, I would just
Yes.
add it
Okay.
to the rules.
We'll add it.
So 7 days, half back. Is that all right?
Works. Yeah. Anything less than that, we don't have any chance to try to rent it unless we're just going to lose. So,
Right.
yeah. That works.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
So this is the last time?
That's it.
Sure.
No.
Oh, wait, there is something.
Oh.
Are we supposed to be paying city filling for cleaning? And
Yeah.
How are we supposed to handle that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Has a rate of pay been decided
15.
for each rental?
She needs to invoice you, right?
I think,
Yeah, she does.
yeah. Let's say based on her invoicing, if she's just going to go in and it's cleaned, and all she needs to do is the checklist, I think we can trust Susie with whatever, when she needs to invoice us, she can invoice us. Does that work?
I would expect her to invoice us every time.
No. No, if she wants to invoice us once a month for
Oh, okay.
6 cleanings, whatever, I don't care.
Okay, I thought you meant, okay.
No, I'm just saying if she goes to do the cleaning and check things off, if she gets there and it's spotless, and she doesn't have to clean anything, all she's got to do is check off the list, she may not want to charge us the 15. So let's kind of leave that up to her.
Okay.
You don't look like you're understanding.
She's going to need to clean every time. There's a restroom and it needs to be swept, and there's a kitchen. So there needs to be some cleaning done
Every time.
every time.
Okay. She bills us
So
at whatever frequency she wants for every cleaning.
In theory, she shouldn't have to because they're supposed to per the contract.
Yeah.
we're not expecting people to clean the restroom and like toilet scrubbing, are we?
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, I don't think that's.
We put a checklist on the door that says they have to.
And all the cleaning supplies.
Okay. Whew. We're never running out of doors.
Don't you want to buy rentals?
If we could have put this in the park and rec, we wouldn't have had this problem.
That was the plan. wasn't
Yeah. How about Clark Dietz, Phyllis? We have excuse me, it's Tim. It says, approve amendment number 1 for Clark Dietz on the sewer project. That's you, okay.
I was going to say, I don't know anything about that, so.
Approve amendment number 1. Now, what is amendment number 1?
Well, there's all kinds of items there, so.
These are all the change order things, or what? Okay.
This is what Bill Slyke talked about at last meeting.
Summary.
Could you do that any smaller?
Yeah, it's pretty
We need to
small.
amend the rules.
General design requirements, 30% design phase. Review and initial design of alternate of First Street alignment. That was $16,600. Additional NDOT coordination and requirements for settlement monitoring plan, $870. Additional coordination with Williams Creek and agencies regarding wetland flood area, $435. Multiple modifications to upstream connection point due to issues with Macklin Moshi property, $1,130. Evaluation of tank or bank stabilization option behind Macklin's, $1,520. And a 10-bid opening, $899. That's $21,454. And then they had some construction engineering work, redesign and reissue the plans to address survey issue at downstream end, $10,889. Revise items, permit, and coordinate to address the revised plans from survey issue, $620. An additional open cut option with Loshi building torn down, $870. So that's $12,379.
And you add the two together, and it's
About $33,833.
$33,833.
So we'll need approval to accept these amendments.
Original agreement amount. The original agreement amount from Clark Beach was $190,550. With this amended amount, $33,833 added to it, takes their adjusted agreement amount up to $224,383. And we've kind of been working all week to try to figure out exactly where we are in the scheme of our budget for this project. And we're well under. Okay, we're going to have, even with all, these amendments are really in the scheme of things very small for the size of this project. We've had very few change orders.
It was additional work.
Yeah, it was the additional, it wasn't just...
Not change orders,
It was
additional work.
additional,
An amendment.
it amended the scope of work.
When you consider how much change we did on this project, which is a third of the cost of that, that's pretty good.
It's gone very well.
And I'm happy to say that this big hole out here, that's the end of it, folks. When they fill that hole in, I was told out there today at the hole that supposedly Friday, paver's coming. He'll pave that over, and he'll pave over Jackson Street. And then from then on out, it's just cleanup. Everything will be operating. But that was one big, massive piece that they put in that hole. That piece was sitting over there in the corner. It's like 10 feet in diameter. And they brought that over underneath the lights and the power poles, the power wires, and set that in there. That guy was good on that
Piece of equipment.
And
It'd be good to mention also CS09 was cemented shut
Ooh.
that's the one out here, right? Yeah, on Monroe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him do it. I witnessed it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was called, but...
In 1982, we had 17 overflows,
Yeah.
and now we're
Down to 2.
And that's a big accomplishment if you read about other cities our size and the shape that they're in.
Fred Ish would be proud of us, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to authorize
The amendment.
the amendment.
Yeah.
30, what did you say it was, 33?
33,833.
All right, I'll make a motion to authorize the amendment.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Is Dan here yet? Dan's not here.
I have two of these if you want to sign both.
Okay.
Send one back there.
Let's-
Yeah, that's fine.
I only have, Dan Rickard has the 5-year uncollectible write-offs that we need to go through, and he should be here, but he's not yet. The only other thing I have written down here is just for discussion. It's not really, I don't have anything set in stone on this or anything, but I want to start talking about, I think it was our August 2nd meeting. Melissa and Greg Kitson came to the Board of Works meeting, and we talked about a capital campaign and 3 major projects, okay? One of those projects would be the First Street redevelopment of everything that we've tore up recently, and also what to do with the chamber parking lot if we want to utilize it in some way, shape, or form. Kevin McCrory's firm, JPR, has given us a bid to prepare us a design. He wouldn't start it until we know, he wouldn't start it for at least 2 more weeks, okay? December 1st is, I think, 2 weeks and 1 day from now, and we will be notified on the Madison Street grant, okay? So pending the outcome of that is when he would start a design for us. The design that he is proposing, Phyllis, do you remember what I told you? Well, I got it here somewhere. The Redevelopment Commission approved giving the city $12,500 to go towards the planning phase of First Street.
Because we had set aside 25 for it, right?
Mhm.
And we didn't really set it
Well,
aside. We talked
kinda
about it. We didn't-
estimated.
yeah, we did not make a motion to do that, okay? I thought I had it written in. Here it is.
It was recommended that we consider
Mhm.
25,000.
JPR's estimate for doing that is $10,500, so it's less, it's less than what the redevelopment commission will give us. So I would like to get,
We're doing a whole plan?
I'm not sure that's redevelopment. I think they said they would match the city, so if
Okay.
it's less than 25,
okay, then we're gonna, I heard him say they'd give us 12,500.
Well, I wasn't sure on that either, Tim. If they said they would pay half,
of whatever the
but
cost
then they
was,
said they
up
would
to
pay up to
12,500.
12,500.
Right, that's what
So-
I'm
We
saying.
had said 25.
So if it's 12, they pay 6 and the
I
city
agree,
would pay
that
6.
sounds
Okay.
really cheap.
To do the entire riverfront plan.
Yeah, 10,500. And then we also asked him to give us a quote on engineering from the bridge to 3rd Street for streetscape.
Yeah.
That was 25,000, which doesn't seem like it should be that much. So we talked to him today, and we were in a meeting with him today, and he says it's because of all the electric work out here that would be his way it's so expensive.
But he said he'd be willing to sit down and talk
Yeah.
about that, and explain their...
Yes.
I mean, to me, it seems logical to go with this firm, one, because of his involvement to this point, but two, because the original discussion of the riverfront development came from the comprehensive plan, which was done by
His
his firm,
firm.
before he was a part of it.
Right.
Right.
Land growth.
Yeah. So 10.5. So we would be on the hook for half of that, essentially.
Mhm.
So that's one of them.
That's one of them. Yeah, as for the other projects, the aquatics park that we discussed, HWC Engineering, it's a company same company that did the one in Portland. Jeremy's contacted them as an engineering firm. They would design a aquatics park, take them 4 to 5 months to do it, $23,900. So that's less than what we budgeted, or talked about budgeting for that, which was 25 is what we talked about. And then the other project that we talked about was the Hannah-Nutman Ballpark project. MLS, Miller Land Surveying, offered a proposal including engineering, site plan, grade plan, utility plan, erosion control, as well as all the drawings and renderings of the project. Not included were things like lighting, signage, any Army Corps permits, and his cost was not to exceed $25,000. He said he would discount his hourly rate by 10% to help us as much as possible. And he has already made somewhat of a schematic drawing. I think most of you have seen it in my office one time or another. And I think by using him and maybe hiring that locally, we can get that project done $1 million or so less than what it would be if we put it out to some big company. So that's where I'm at. And like I said, we got plenty of time here. I don't know how we even go about.
Where does 2nd Street fall into the scheme of things?
This is Jeremy. I'm going to take this call. Hello? Yeah. We're in the Board of Works meeting. This is being recorded. But you're not on speakerphone. Go ahead. Okay.
Who's the company on the aquatics? What was the name of it?
HRC,
On the sewer line, you mean, over there?
HW.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. How far out are you? I mean, we're pretty much done with the Board of Works meeting, so when you get here, we'll talk about it. Thank you. Jeremy wants to talk sewer project, so.
The other part of this was wanting to do a concerted advertising
Marketing campaign, yes.
which would require...
That we were going to somewhat set a price. We were going to put it out as what we could get for $50,000,
Right.
and then
But incorporate these designs and plans and...
to market them.
To
yeah.
market them for, yeah. I think we had, at the time, said... I had to go back. I don't remember. I think we had two separate plans with earmarked 25 for this and 25 for handing out.
There's actually 30, and then 25 for each of the other two. We had 30 benchmark for this one.
When you say earmark, are you talking capital campaign or city money?
I should
City
say
money.
Earmark, I should say.
We estimated the cost,
Oh,
and I think
Suggested
Okay.
expenditure.
Okay. Do
When-
you know how that capital campaign money works?
Yeah, I looked into that this week, and I think the capital campaign money has to go toward the cost of the project, not for engineering, not
Okay,
for
the upfront.
design yet, not for upfront costs. It's for actual project.
Once it's, committed,
Once it's committed,
not just for ideas.
yeah, not for ideas.
when you laid out the fiscal plan and trying to identify from what sources to cover those expenses or projections, didn't
Okay. Yeah, I
wasn't that
emailed Tim.
included in that then?
Yeah. Or did I include you, Tim, on that email? Or just Ken?
No, me,
Oh.
Jeremy, and Melissa all break his next year.
I think, let's go back to Wiley's question. Where does Second Street, I mean, my understanding was
The third week.
the design work that's been done or management and it's extending out
Right.
would just continue on.
But at what point would it continue? I mean, what projects you talked about? Is it standalone? Is it part of Monroe? Is it...
Well, the first, we're going to re-streetscape Monroe Street next year, which we do have budgeted $150,000 set aside for that. If we're going to do that, that's probably the first place we're going to have to decide on lights. And whatever we decide there would probably be something that we would utilize, throughout.
Wouldn't lights come out of
Yeah,
Madison?
I think it's already been,
That's already,
Where's Melissa?
I think it's already
I
been,
think, because that's what Madison is doing.
That is
setting the
Yeah.
standard,
Setting the
setting
tone
the
for what
design.
happens
yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
I think the big thing that Stellar was always about this intersection out here and doing all that work, but that was such an expensive thing, and I think the hoops you have to jump through with the state to do that were,
more than you want to really...
I mean, if you're going to do something like that, do it down here where, places that we own. So, I mean, when you look at what would remain the expenditures, but I'd have to go back and look, but I don't recall, in the plan saying that what priority level that is and what the expense is going to be. I know it was addressed.
I mean, like you said, Madison Street's going to come out into...
half a block each way.
So, can Monroe Street kind of go a block each, or half block each way?
With the same...
Melissa, today, at the end of that meeting that we were in, and you'd already left, we talked briefly to Kevin McCrory about Monroe Street. And we talked, he said, the biggest decision's a light post or whatever we're going to use. Has there already been a light post picked for Madison Street regardless or not?
There has been a theme picked, and once Madison Street is awarded or construction is ready to go, at that time, an exact light post would be chosen. However, if you need it chosen before that, we can certainly do
The
that
chances,
quickly.
Kevin says it takes a long time to get lights in, I guess.
Okay.
And that we likely should be deciding on a light for out here. Well, whatever we use out here, is that going to be the same as what we want to use?
That's what the design committee will propose,
That's
yes.
what they had planned on.
Okay.
So go ahead and have them pick something.
Yeah, when Jeremy gets here, talk with Jeremy. We talked about maybe trying to get it down to a couple. You were still in there, weren't you?
Okay. We can have Kevin present us with 2 or 3, have the committee look at it, make a recommendation to all of you, run it by Jeremy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, back to the capital campaign. I asked Phyllis this week. I said, Phyllis, I have these 3 estimates from these 3 engineering firms. That said, where are we as far as being able to proceed? What monies do we have in this year's budget should we want to do something? I know the redevelopment commission said they would pay, I said 12.5, for the riverfront development, so we have the money ready to go for this one. Jeremy originally had some funds in his park and rec budget for the ball diamonds for the design work. However, I believe some of that has been used for the roof on Riverside. As for the aquatics park, I don't recall if we had any money set aside this year. For us to take this to a capital campaign marketing project, I think we first need to get the ball rolling on the plans. Let's all gather and talk next week. And she replied back and she said, you were right. The redevelopment commission did approve paying up to 12.5 for this. And then she says, as for the other projects, is it possible to request using the funds from the capital campaign account? And that's when I checked in that, no, not for plans. If not, she does have $47,000 budgeted and seated for promotional/development of economic projects. And there's also approximately $14,000 left in seated capital improvement projects for this year. And then she says, are you still going to need money for the marketing for this year? Which I don't know if we need that this year or not.
But where's the water park? Is there a defined location? Is it?
No. That's a good question. I mean, there's enough room to put it where our swimming pool is right now. There's enough room for that. But if we want to put it in an aquatics park and market it to the community and to this area, is that the best location?
Yeah. So there was talk of collaboration with the school too.
I talked to Brent Lehman earlier this week. I said, Brent, if there's going to be a one-school campus, you're going to do away with Northwest Elementary. What about all that land behind there? Is there any way we could get our hands on that? He said, absolutely. He said, but the thing is after the students are moved and going out here, then that building and all the land has to set for 2 years in case someone wants to put in a charter school or something. So the timeline for that, I mean, I don't know how long that will take.
There's an addendum to that law, and it doesn't have to be the full 2 years. We need to go back and read it.
Take a look at it.
That was the original law, but then there was an addendum.
But he was more than willing to work with us on that, yeah. Excuse me?
If you've got somebody
next summer, they might start building that.
I know, that's what he told me. I said, yeah, we could have a school under construction, a wetlands nature preserve under construction, and a raising of 224 all going on at the same time. Stay away from the east side of Decatur, my word.
Hey, I live over there.
Okay, so all these quotes not to exceed, right, $58,500, since the redevelopment commission has so graciously offered $12,500
Up for that one.
perhaps they would be willing to do.
They are a very gracious committee, I will say that. I know some of the people in there.
If they were willing to do it for all of it, it would take our max expense to $46,000, which would be covered by the $47,000 earmarked for, and we wouldn't have to tap
Commercial
into
development.
the
Anything
other
else?
else. Since the redevelopment commission is so...
And if we could get all these plans underway this year, then bingo, first of the year, we can put out an RFQ for marketing, and bada bing, bada boom, we go. You guys with us over here on this?
So are we needing to do something tonight?
Yes. We're going to market them for donations from the public. It will be probably a year-long capital fundraising project.
My only concern is if you're doing them all at once.
Not building them all at once.
I know, but if you're asking for money of all of them at once, somebody wants to get money,
Mhm.
are you going to get 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 10, and then not get anything done? And we're just sitting with projects that haven't started.
We're not going to raise all the money, okay? We'll sell bricks for this and that. We'll get a sponsor for a shade feature at the aquatics park. We'll get a sponsor for a locker room at the aquatics park. We'll get each ball diamond can have a sponsor, okay? I mean, there's a lot of different ways of raising those funds, and that's what the marketing agency will come up with for us.
Right, I understand that, but I just don't, my fear would be if you get so broad of stuff.
Well, we're not asking, but see, when we talked about this, Tim and I, we kind of felt that this was good, because if we go with a capital campaign for an aquatics park, not everybody's in favor of aquatics park, they might not want to give, okay, but if they are in favor, this gives them the option of donating and designating where they want their money to go. That's the reason for 3, rather than just doing 1.
Because if we say we don't get this Madison, I mean, that's another one that you're going to throw into the marketing too, so then you're going to have 4 in there. I don't, to me, it seems like it might get watered down. And you're not
Thoughts
able-
over here?
I mean, when we did the capital campaign to begin with, we had a lot more projects than that. But the problem is, we didn't have any meat behind it. It was all concepts and not enough detail. What we're trying to get to here is the detail, so you have the plan to market to.
And I think it would be
what it will
good to put all of that into a marketing planning. Before you actually roll it out, you could always make some adjustments as to if you decide one of the plans takes a back seat.
And there's many reasons that could be from, it's not just funding, it's,
Yeah,
well,
something we don't know tonight.
where's the water park going to go, and is that land available, and what's
Yeah.
the transition time frame, and,
Yeah.
but I think the ballpark, I mean, hand up, and I think that there seems to be a lot of support behind that it would go quickly.
Seems like it would.
And I think that and the riverfront both go pretty quickly, really.
Because you have a lot of people involved with the ballpark, that whole area.
A lot of families.
A lot of different people.
Okay. Is that a council thing, or is that a...
Do we need to get clarification from Redevelopment Commission, or we go on what your email says?
I can look at the minutes. You wrote them.
I know what was said. It's up to $12,500, meaning that they would match whatever, they would pay half of whatever the city would have to
But,
pay.
I do think that if we approached them and said, hey, because what they were wanting to do is they were wanting to put some of the money, some of our tip revenue that we took in, they were wanting to show some, that we're putting some of this out there into something tangible. So I think that they would probably work with us on that, but we can't really do that until our next meeting.
Which is
3 weeks,
About 3 weeks.
December 6th, or 7th, I'm sorry.
So that's not that far.
But if we use that 47 up for that, then we're looking at the, $50,000 for an actual marketing. That's a whole nother. Is that next year's budget, I guess?
It'll have to be, I think. Unless something at the towards the end.
The pool, or the aquatics thing, they'd be 4 to 5 months out on that.
Well, that's after we are ready to, let's see.
Well, yeah, that's just for the plans, isn't it? So you really want to be able
Yeah.
to market for 4 to 5 months after, whenever they get it done.
Yeah, and actually what HWC Engineering said, it would include a feasibility study, a public survey, establishment of a local steering committee to develop alternatives for the park, two initial rendering options, a public meeting showing these options, surveys, environmental services, etc. So there was a lot included in that.
So we could get the RFQ or RFP, whatever, for the marketing thing moving at the same time.
Yep. Yep. So,
What are you needing?
I don't know. What do I need to do? Do I need to take this to council to do this, Tim?
To go forward with the
With the funding of the
authorization of the
engineering?
funding? Yeah, because it's a council decision to appropriate the funds for
Okay.
it.
Let me get all my ducks in a row, and I'll bring that back at the next meeting. We won't talk about that tonight, because that'll take a little, we're going to have...
So your desire would be to get this
This year.
done this year, or committed this year?
I would like to, on the planning, yes. Okay, thanks. Dan, got your write-offs? These are our annual 5-year uncollectible write-offs.
Burns me every year.
It burns me every year, too.
No, yeah, just so you know, these are, so these are 5 years old, and since then, we've done some things with the collection agency. We've got a better way of calling people and going after landlords and stuff like that, so these are still from 5 years ago. In the next few years, it'll get a lot better.
What's the total amount?
$24,071.40. It's split up between water, sewer, storm, sanitation.
Stormwater? Everything.
Has your list gotten smaller though since we do the liens now or not?
Yeah, and that's, see, we started doing liens a couple years ago too, but that's not showing here yet.
Oh,
I mean, these are still 5 years, these are back, I was only here for a year or two, so
Okay.
we've done some things, we've changed some things, but we're not gonna see that for a couple more years yet. So, matter of fact, 5 years ago, we didn't even have a collection company helping at all. So,
That's it.
we started with them about 4 years ago probably, so. And Erin's done a lot, she makes a lot of phone calls, trying to collect people that are in rental properties, talking to landlords about liens and stuff, so it's gotten better the last couple of years, a lot better.
Is that still a major, the rental properties, is it still a major issue?
Very much so.
That's the biggest source of...
And certain rental properties.
Certain landlords.
Candy Fleming, we don't have any, never, ever, in all the apartments out there. Belmont Estates, we have thousands and thousands.
Yeah, some of these people are up in the $200, $300, $400.
And that doesn't happen as much anymore. I think back a few years ago, like in the wintertime, we didn't do shut-offs and stuff like that. We've since changed that. We do shut-offs all year round now. But 5, 6 years ago, we didn't.
Would it make any difference if we sat down with the management of...
Well, Dan and I have talked about that.
And I am going to a conference in Columbus in about 3 weeks. Bill and I are both going. And they have an open discussion with the State Board of Accounts. We kind of have a round table where all the managers get in there with the State Board and ask a couple things. I'm going to find out for sure what we can do, whether we can put them all in the landlord's names.
If we can do that, I would just...
I know we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
This, in a couple weeks, that'll be a perfect place to talk to the State Board with all other utility directors around too, because they're going to voice their opinion on everything too, so.
You're saying just in the changes you've made, it's gonna go
It's
down from 25,000?
Oh, yeah.
Any idea what this
But-
one here would be?
It's 90% rental properties, you know?
No?
If we
Why
can
would
find
that
a
be
way,
on there?
if we can, I'm pretty sure we can't legally make all rental
Where's
properties
Commerce
pay
Drive,
the
is that?
landlords that pay them.
Guy Brown Drive is...
Because we're providing service to an actor, not necessarily a person. And that'll help out. Like, Belmont Estates is the worst one.
Can you, I guess maybe that's a legal question, but can you just not turn the water
I
on
went
until
through
that bill's
bankruptcy.
paid up on the property?
It's different with rental properties.
5 years ago?
But
Even, you can't just say, the person comes into the rental property and say your water's not getting turned on until it's paid. That would force the
you gotta go
owner.
through a lien process on the landlord, and with rental properties, like, if you own a house and you just don't pay it, we can file a lien, and it'll be paid by next taxes. With rental properties.
You look at those
have-
names and they're just not names that you
Every
recognize.
time there's a bill
I
60
think I
days
recognize
late,
that one.
you have 1 month to notify by certified letter to the landlord. We have 300-400 of them. We have to hire somebody full-time to send letters to landlords constantly when they wait 60 months. That's 2 months. You have to send a certified letter every time that they're 60 days late.
Right, but when they're late, does the water get shut off?
Yeah, it does now. Yeah, I mean,
But then that water doesn't get turned back on until that bill is paid,
well,
right?
they pay, most of them pay the pass-through amount to get back to one bill. Well, then that one bill goes to two again. So next month, they're 30 days late, or 60 days late. It's
Yeah,
just
but everybody on the board of work.
And with homeowners, I mean, it's not so bad.
We don't require a deposit,
No, we don't.
do some cities?
Some, not a lot of them, some, but that's another thing I'll bring up at that conference to find out what everybody else is doing. But in all honesty,
When I moved to California, it cost me $1,000 to set up my apartment
with
and
all
deposits
the
for this and this.
yeah.
I'm not saying we're in California, but shocking at the time
Right.
how much I had to put up to.
I mean, I'm not saying we can't do it, but they'd be writing checks.
Yeah, it's,
They'd be writing 50 checks a month.
yeah, it might solve one problem, but it creates another.
If you look at our sheet for how many residents turn over monthly,
Yeah,
I would say it's 60.
for those rentals, yeah, they're in and out,
Yeah.
like a revolving door.
And it's, I mean, we would be cutting deposit checks for $7
Right.
and I mean, because you'd have to take the balance off, and it would be a nightmare for her money, I mean, if we decide to go that way. I'm not saying we can't, I'm just saying it's gonna, but,
Every effort's been made to collect these monies is what,
yeah. Like I said, since Erin's come on, she'll spend any of her free time making phone calls constantly. She does a really good job of it. And that's why you're gonna see it with them in the next couple of years because it's more of the recent ones. But I don't know, but we just need to figure something out.
Are any of these still in the same place?
No,
They're all
no.
gone.
And that's,
That's part of the problem too.
you look at the names of these people, most of these are not people that
You
even
try
live
to
here.
track them down because they don't just
you can
move
have utilities in your
to a
name.
different location
You
here
don't
in town.
have to. Like, even if you
Pass
move
that
from one to
around,
the other,
Ken, when you're
it's
done.
not getting turned on in your name until that one's changed.
Put it in the
And
kid's
they're-
name.
The girls are adamant about that, but, oh yeah, they'll change it. It'll be-
It just
Kid-
put it in
kid
somebody else's
name.
name.
We have started taking driver's license numbers from people like people, especially ones coming from out of town. But they're trying to get driver's license numbers off, because we've had people do it from wife's name, to boyfriend's name, to husband's name, to kid's name, to, that's what was going on years ago. That's all changed now, but we're still looking at those bills, 5 years.
Can we reduce the time frame? Dan, you said 3 months, and then a month that you send the letter out, whatever. If they get a month behind, can we do anything, or does the State Board of Accounts say, no, you have to?
Well, there's a statute.
That's what I mean.
It's a state statute on rental properties. We have a process with, your late fees get on after a month, after the next bill comes, the next bill's getting done, you get a green tag on your door, there's 10 days after that, it's going to get shut off. And we do a much better job nowadays than we used to. There used to be a lot of lists of arrangements this long. Now, the list of arrangements are on the notepad, because you're not getting arrangements every month like it was before.
Tom's boy.
And that's the problem. A lot of these
Tom
people
Chris.
know the system. They know just what they can do, how far they can go.
But if we created our own system where the utilities were in the landlord's name, then it would be our system. We'd be running.
We would not have an issue.
Yep.
Right.
And it would be a nightmare for the first couple.
And I hate writing off $24,000 every year.
Well,
That's
the
just,
thing is, some of the landlords don't care. When we express it to them, not my problem.
yep, they get all,
But Candy Fleming calls every month, wants to know who's behind in her apartment complex. Every month she wants to know. She's even helped him at times. But I mean, no one ever moves out of there with a past due balance. Ever.
different clientele though too. In Fleming's,
A lot different management.
Different management, a lot of it. But I mean, we've had some of them that we go to them and say, hey, can you, not my problem. Okay? But we can actually lien the property, so it is their problem. It's just the process of liening rental properties
Not easy.
The business on the bottom here, is that
That's-
someone that filed bankruptcy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of bankruptcies.
Bill, let me see this. You guys want to make a motion?
Make a motion to accept the write-off.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? There's my signature. You guys need to sign it yet. Jeremy? Jeremy, without getting too deep into this, I want you to give a report at the council meeting for the press. So, let's just cover what we have to cover at the Board of Works, and then we'll do you again here at the council.
Tonight at the council meeting, I'm going to give a brief overview of the sewer project that's going on. Kind of some time frames, some things to look at, but also, Ken and I met with the owners of the granary probably 3-4 weeks ago.
At least, yeah.
Discussed a few little things that they had going on, and over at the bank building, the former First Merchants Bank building, to the north of there where that stone lot is, where they're running that relief sewer, the Flemings are kind of tracking it up, and you know, it's normal for the activity that's going on. In lieu of trying to re-landscape and try to make things right with the Franz family, they are requesting that Greg just saw cuts along the curb, the asphalt along the curb, and actually take the overgrown bushes and the curbing and some of that out of that.
That little island, does that come
parking
out?
lot. Correct.
The little island is there between the drive-through and their parking lot area.
Haul some stone
Comes out.
in there and just make them a nice little driveway approach. I met with Greg and we talked about it. Greg threw a number out of possibly $1,000. I'm going to say that's probably going to be a little bit low. He doesn't know 100% without doing a lot of measuring. I'm going to venture to say we're probably going to be closer to 2,000 than 1,000. The reason why I bring this to you is before we meet again, we're probably going to be doing a lot of that restoration work. I just kind of want to know what your thoughts were. The granary's been very understanding
They have been.
They
through
worked
this
with
whole
us.
project.
We've had to disrupt their business, but boy, we sure have.
I feel that this is appropriate because trying to patch back what's there is going to be probably more work than just tearing this out and making it the way that they want it.
Well, and they're
In the
also
end.
making that old bank building something too.
Correct.
You know, so they're putting back into the city.
They're putting back in, and this will actually make additional parking along there, which is definitely needed.
Yeah.
So tonight I just asked for some direction if you guys feel that, you know, we want to pursue with this. We don't have any paperwork drawn up. I've talked with Bill Slike, the engineer. He said if this is what we want to do, let's just plan on doing it, and then he would get the description and everything drawn up for the...
Do a
for the
change order.
I feel that's what we need to do. I really do, so.
I would agree with that.
I agree. Do we just need, you just need a head bob, or do you just need to vote on this?
This is Board of Works.
It's Board of Works,
Yeah,
yeah.
Board of Works.
Change order.
Okay, that's, yeah, I agree,
Okay.
that's fine.
Good to go.
I won't get into detail till later.
Okay.
You went in Sarah's paper to catch it on the claims.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy's got some, Tim
Hey,
got
Jeremy.
some too.
I have nothing else for the Board of Works. So I'll just for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Sign when you get back.
Opposed, the same. We're adjourned?